Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is September 24th, 2025. And Bitcoin is close to a big move, as are altcoins. Close, but not yet there. We're going to look at why I'm saying it's close and what I'm expecting to happen before the big move, right? Also, we're going to look at where Bitcoin is going next. When I say a big move to where? I'm going to answer all that and more in this video. If that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. Let's start with Bitcoin on the hourly time frame. So last we spoke, we talked about the Bitcoin flash crash, okay? 3% down in 12 hours. Big deal, but it's significant, okay? And I said, what is this? What is this? Well, my conclusions in that video, if you didn't watch it, were simply that we came back down to support, okay? Many altcoins did the same thing, but Bitcoin came down to a level of support. And if support acted as support does, we would likely see a consolidation of price at this level. And after that consolidation was finished, then we should see a move up. Okay, that was my conclusion. Now, some candles later, some days later, what do we see? Exactly that, right? Bitcoin came down to this level of support. Now, for those of you who do not know where we are on the map of on the chart, on the larger chart, I'm just going to zoom out for a second because not everybody looks at these every day. And here you can see you have a larger channel of price action that's pretty much been going on for 75 or so days, okay? So you can see for the past 75 days, Bitcoin has just been doing this within the bounds of this 75-day channel, and now you're at support, okay? So again, support is support, and it's where demand is. So you're likely, given that you're at support, going to act like it and bounce off of support. All right, now let's zoom back in on the hourly, and you can see very clearly you're at support and you're creating exactly what you see at support, which is what? Which is a consolidation. Okay, so when you're at support, that consolidation specifically is called an accumulation, according to Wyckoff analysis, right? That accumulation takes the form of, Wyckoff accumulation schematic. On this channel, I like to reference A/B basing theory by Ralph Nelson Elliott, right? And in that, it states that you typically see three pairs of corrective patterns, three pairs of A/B basing before the accumulation or before the consolidation is complete, because you can use that for distributions as well. So all consolidations, they give way, or they take the form of three pairs typically before you complete them, and then can bounce off of that channel. Okay, so here what we see is one, I count two, let's do that again, I count two, I'm looking for a third. I'm looking for a third like this, okay? So in the next couple days, don't be surprised if Bitcoin comes all the way back down to around 110.7 or something like that, okay? I'm looking at that kind of price action only because we're dealing with a very steady level of support that's descending, and price seems to want to test it time and time again. And every test is very credible insofar as the candles that are formed off of this descending level, this diagonal level, are nice bullish hammer candles, right? Long wicks to the downside, strong demand, right? Long wick to the downside, strong demand. I expect a third and final one before this is complete. So that's what I'm looking for Bitcoin. It's close, but it's not quite there. And that last move is going to give us, again, our third test, our third pattern, our third pair of corrective patterning to complete this overall consolidation channel. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. Now, to address the question, where to? If this is going to be a big move in Bitcoin, big move, now where to? So we have to put everything in context. I think it's a big move in Bitcoin because Bitcoin moving even 3% was seen as a big move, right? We call that a flash crash, right? It moved 3% in 12 hours. That was deemed a big move. This move, I feel, is going to be a double-digit move, all right? It's going to be a 10-11% move, something like that. The reason I think that, all right, is that I do not think that we came down to the bottom level of the 75-day channel only to go back up once more and get rejected by the midline. I think what's happening here is you're going to more likely than not retest the tops of this 75-day channel, where I would call the all-time high level, okay? And I really like that because at the end of the day, you'd be creating a very nice bearish reversal pattern, head and shoulders, right? On the higher time frame, we understand Bitcoin is likely bearish, and I've been saying that this is likely the upthrust after distribution, Wyckoff term, where it's the top of the top in layman's terms. And so you're basically looking at the final throes of a massive year-long distribution pattern. So I do think that Bitcoin is going to test the tops of this channel once more, and that should give you 10, 11, 12% move from the bottom here, okay? The other reason I feel like that is more likely than not going to happen rather than just a modest move to the midline is that the midline's already been tested, and typically in a rejection, once you test the midline, you break the bottom. You break the bottom, and then you retest the bottom as support. But you're not kind of like hanging out and reconsolidating at the bottom. That basically shows that you're likely going to move off of the lows, move off of support, rather than break it, then retest it, and then go down. And if you did that, it just wouldn't look right. I go back to what Prechter and Frost call the right look. I have this in my trading journal as well. In technical analysis, typically things look right. Patterns play out and they form over periods of time, and you're like, oh, you look back and you're like, oh wow, that's nice. That's what you always see. Head and shoulders pattern at a major bearish level. This is a major bearish level. I would not be surprised if I saw a nice head and shoulders bullish or bearish reversal pattern here, okay? And not one that was kind of like looking like that, okay? This is a bearish reversal pattern as it stands, but it's not a particularly, how can I say this, aesthetically pleasing one. And a lot of times you'd be surprised how aesthetically pleasing these charts are, how well balanced and equilibrated these charts happen to be. Okay, the other reason I think it's very likely that Bitcoin not only do this, grab this liquidity at around 125, 126 in that area, all-time high area, okay, then go down, okay, and make its way all the way down to the levels we've been talking about about for a year on this channel. Like, there's liquidity all the way down to the 55 to 60K level. So Bitcoin, basically, let's go on the daily time frame. The other reason I believe that Bitcoin does something like this, followed by something like this, right? It's off the chart, but it's okay. And then something like this is in the liquidity data. The liquidity data supports that there's liquidity here, There's liquidity all the way down here, and then there's some liquidity above us here. And I don't think that Bitcoin's necessarily going to choose one or the other. I think it's going to go for all of them. And that is what price typically does. People call this the max pain scenario. And again, I do not believe that this is some nefarious plot by Binance or CZ or some, some evil doing, market maker behind a mahogany desk. No, it's just what price does, because price is attracted to itself. And when there are levels of liquidity at various places, it tends to find ways to capture each and every single one of them. Let's look at the liquidity heat map data. So this again is on CoinGlass. It's for free. Go on coinglass.com. The model that I prefer is the number 2 model. And you can see here, if it loads, maybe I have to reload it. I don't know. Let's reload this. Okay, let's reload it. I want to look at the 3-month. So here I'm going to just go to 3-month. And yeah, I'm on the super chart. So perfect. So the super chart, for those of you who don't know, is basically, it's aggregating all of the data across the major exchanges, not just the Binance, not just the Bybit, not just the, Bitfinex, but all of the major exchanges, getting all of the liquidity data. And so that is all on one chart. I think it's extremely useful. Again, liquidity is like water, like electricity. It seeks itself. And when there are pools of itself, it is attracted to that. Okay? The first thing that jumps out at me when I look at this chart, again, this is a 3-month chart, so it's showing liquidity of the Bitcoin price action within a span of 3 months. First thing that jumps out at me is there's a lot. The most liquidity on this chart is down at 90K. That's the first thing that jumps out at me. There's more liquidity than below than there is above. So it goes back to my higher time frame thesis of Bitcoin really needing to come down to between 55 to 60K, or at least much lower than we currently are, because its actual fair market value is much lower. It's completely overpriced right now. Completely overpriced. The liquidity heat maps tell you, and if you went to a higher, let's just do it because who cares? Just go to the 6-month chart. You may be able to see even further, even more liquidity beyond the 90K level. Look, exactly what I said. Look at it. Don't take my word for it. Look at it. Look at it for yourselves. When people say DYOR, do your own research. This is part of it, right? Like, you watch somebody like me, you watch an analyst on YouTube, random person, you have no idea what my bona fides are. I may be some random guy lying to you, and who knows? But you have to use your better judgment. You have to use your I don't know, your intuition. You have to use your brain. You have to use your own reasoning. I don't know why I can't find the words, but you just have to make your mind up. Look at the data that I'm presenting and figure it out for yourselves. That's the best way I can say it. Look at what I'm showing you right now. What is that yelling to you? If you understand what I've just told you about what this chart represents, it's basically telling you that there are mounds. There's, we talk about pools. These are oceans of liquidity of Bitcoin down here between 60 and 90K. It's so bright and so and it's miles more. It's so much more plentiful than what is above us. We do have liquidity above us, but most of the liquidity for Bitcoin is down the F between 60 and 90K. And if you can't see that, I can't help you. That's what's called do your own research. Don't just watch and believe. Look at it, make your own mind up. And when I've said for the past year, Bitcoin's likely to come down to between 55 and 60K, it wasn't because of this. I was just using basic technical analysis. But this right here, this liquidation heat map, this liquidity indicator on chain corroborates all of that technical analysis. Okay, so let's go back to the 3-month, and here's why I believe it's very likely that Bitcoin do what I just said. It first, let's wait for the chart to load. Okay, it first goes to around 125. I don't think it gets up to 140 for a few reasons. It just wouldn't make any sense. Very low probability technical move. I think it eats a bit of the liquidity up here. You get your 1, 2, 3 tests, which you typically see in technical analysis. You hit that high right here. You grab that liquidity at around 125 and 126K. You come down, and then you start eating the liquidity between, where we're at right now, and all the way down to 60K, and you just keep going, you keep going, you keep going. And then when you're all said and done with that, you come in and eat the liquidity above this current range, and you just grab that. So I think that's exactly what's likely to happen. So people talk a lot about Bitcoin's going to this level, Bitcoin's going to that level. It doesn't really matter the levels as much as it matters how you're going to get to those levels. You need a map. You need to know. I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin on the really high time frame, but I'm bearish on the medium time frame and bullish on the smaller time frame. That's very important, because if you're in Bitcoin right now and you're not selling, okay, you may be waiting for this small time frame move, but if you're not selling and you wait too long, you're gonna break this 75-day channel, and then you're gonna wait until we get back into the 60s. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you have to kind of get a clear picture for how we move. So again, I think very likely the high time frame read, and I wasn't expecting to get into all of this right now, but I'm here, is going to be something like this. Up here, down all the way the hell there. Okay, it just breaks the chart. I'm not going to even bother going all the way down to 55, 60K. And then all the way up back here. So don't be surprised if you get volatility like this in the Bitcoin chart. It's beautiful. Why is this beautiful? When you make money in any market, it's off of volatility. Very few, if anybody, makes any money when things are just going sideways, when you're ranging for 75 days. My rep at BTCC is like, yeah, Dean, why? By the way, BTCC, 10% cash back offer, deposit minimum 55 or 500 USDT or the equivalent on the exchange with my link in the pinned comment. You should get your 10% back within 7 days. A couple of you didn't get it within 7 days, but I'm following up on that. But anyway, she calls me and she's like, Dean, signups are low. I'm like, bro, have you seen the market? Nobody's making any money. We're just going sideways. People need to make money before people sign up with your exchange link or do this or do that. And when do people make money in crypto, in any market? It's when there's volatility, right? Obviously, you can make money when you're ranging. Scalpers can make money, all that stuff. Maybe some options and stuff like that. But generally speaking, most people make money when we do stuff like this, right? When we just go up and down and we have larger swings. That is coming. It's hard when you have no idea what's coming and, you have no preparation for that. But if you are even a bit prepared, you feast off of volatility, right? Going up. If Bitcoin goes up 10, 11, 12%, imagine what altcoins are going to do. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But then Bitcoin goes down all the way to 55, 60K. Imagine the swings, both up and down, within the auspices of that move, while Bitcoin's retracing down to high probability support, high time frame support. Imagine what altcoins are going to do. That's the money-making opportunity, generally speaking, in our market that we've been missing for a very, very long time. All right, that's Bitcoin. Now let's get into altcoins. I'm going to look at the others and others dominance. Again, others is the best way to look at altcoins right now, right? All of the altcoins minus the top 10 in market cap. And here you can see the same thing. You see on the hourly time frame, you came down, okay, and you zoom out just to get your bearings. You came down to a level of support. I said this in the previous episode. Nothing new here. But you're at the bottom level of this high time frame, again, 75, 76 day channel. You're looking at here, what would you call this? A rising wedge? No, I don't know. It's a bullish consolidation at resistance, because if you look at this is 500 days of resistance, and you're consolidating bullishly at resistance. All right, that's what we would call it. You're at support. You came down back down to support. Your next likely move is to finally break these 500 days of resistance and then retest it as support. So that's what I'm looking at for altcoins. And your stochastic RSI momentum indicator is telling you the same thing. You're about to cross a bullish on the daily time frame. Got your K and D lines crossed right there. Going on the small time frames to just try to snipe this eventuality, this happening. Again, you're looking at 3 pairs of corrective patterning. I think you get a third one like this. Okay, I think you make a lower low here, but it all ends up being like a W reversal. It's gonna look like that. That's my sense. Just like if you have to give me, guess where's this going? It's probably gonna do something like this, and you're going to make your W reversal on the higher time frame, and that W reversal is comprised of 3 pairs of A, B basing, 2 pairs and a pivot, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing in the altcoin. So don't be surprised if in the next, couple days, altcoins move down here only to fly back up. Typically, the big moves up are preceded by a smaller move down, but a fast liquid cascade liquidation event, even on a smaller time frame, to yield a higher time frame big pump. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for in altcoins as well. That's what the chart's saying. You're on support. Never bad idea to buy on support if you're asking, not financial advice. All right, the others dominance is basically telling you that altcoins are about to cream Bitcoin. Let's zoom out for a second on the daily time frame. Here you are once again in this pattern. It's a flat correction where you've been forming it now for around 65 days, okay? And this to me is your A wave, B wave, C wave, or WXY. It doesn't matter. It's the final move. This move down was the final move of that complex flat correction. The next move is up and out of this 250-day consolidation that we've been putting in since February, or however long that was, 230 days, whatever, doesn't matter. But that is basically the definitive move up, showing altcoins creaming Bitcoin. It's in the chart right there. So that is the next big move in altcoins, and expect the next big move in altcoins to be far larger than whatever you see in Bitcoin, because I just told you that Bitcoins was likely targeting 10, 11, 12% move to the upside. Some altcoins may be targeting a few 100% to the upside, some 1,000 plus, others maybe just a couple hundred. But do expect altcoins to be far more volatile to the upside than Bitcoin is, okay? And for those of you in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service, I just sent yesterday updated price targets given the most recent price action for all of the assets that we're trading. So guys, That's it for me. Hope this was helpful, useful. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service that I just mentioned, where we first analyze assets that are likely going to pump and are on high time frame support in the bull market. Okay, not everything is going to run. Yes, you're going to see when things go up, a lot of things are going to go up, but certain things are going to seem like they're limited. They're not going up as much. They're going up just a little bit, while other things are going up much more. There's a reason for that. And so anything that I identify that is not on high time frame support or has not completed the requisite, accumulation in the bear market, or that has yet to, recapitulate or sort of, that still has a big downside move before being deemed bullish, we're not trading. We're not trading. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that I do in crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation, because it's first you have to choose the correct horses. And if you are in the correct horses, whether you're swing trading or not, or just, hands off, you're just letting it run, you're going to make substantial sums. So that's the first thing. People choose up to 5 assets. We build a portfolio. We do risk management, all that stuff. And then once we're in those, I identify high probability resistance and support levels to swing trade and snowball profits into those. So that is really, I think, the magic of crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation. Because the market's been sleepy, we haven't really seen as much of anything, right? It's just been, hold. But once this starts going, it's going to go. So yeah, you can sign up to that at the pinned comment below. There's a link for Buy Me a Coffee where you can sign up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're interested in working with me or testing out working with me, you just want my take on one asset, that's the single asset analysis. You can have that back to you within 24 hours. Just pay, email me, and within 24 hours, you should get the pre-recorded analysis for that target or for that asset. It can be a crypto asset, a non-crypto asset. It could be an indicator. I use my skills in technical analysis to evaluate that, give you my opinions, high, small time frame, all of the above. And you can even message me in response with a couple follow-up questions. That's fine. Last but not least, I'll repeat, BTCC, my exchange partner, very safe, longest running exchange in all of crypto, never been hacked, is giving out 10% cash back to new deposits of at least 500 USDT or the equivalent. Just sign up with my link in the pinned comment below, deposit 500 USDT or the equivalent, wait up to 7 days, and you should get your refund. So that's it, guys. Take care. Bye.
I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grit what's happening?